Hello sports parents and coaches, and welcome to this video. And my hope is that you will find this video to be engaging, informative, and it gives you some valuable information that you can apply to help your athlete have success in sport. Now I'd love to hear your comments as well at the end. Now let me begin by asking you, and please I would love to see your response to this comment, is would you agree or disagree with this statement? That developing an athletic mindset in young athletes is the #1 training tool in order for them to reach their full potential and enjoy sports. Now, this is my belief when it comes to youth athletes progressing and developing in this sport. And if you'd like to know why, please watch the rest of this video. My name is McSparron, and I'm a mental sports performance coach, and I'm the owner of Superior Sports Psyche. Now, if you're a parent of a young athlete, whether your child plays in a team sport like soccer or basketball or hockey, or even an individual sport like swimming, track, tennis, then you probably experienced this situation before. In practice, your child performs with energy. They have lots of confidence, and they're out there performing their skills. They look great, and they're happy to be there. But once that game begins and pressure kicks in, then the expectation to perform is highlighted. Now your athlete begins to be hesitant. They overthink what they're doing. They freeze in certain moments, and they become scared. And you're wondering, where is that kid that looks so good in practice? Now that's what we're talking about today, which is the mental side of sport. And why sports psychology isn't just for elite athletes, but it's something that every young athlete needs to learn. Now you see, most youth sports today are physically demanding. Kids are training year-round. They're in strength programs, they're in sports clinics, they got some private coaching, and they're joining tournament teams just to play higher levels of competition. But here's the problem. They're not being taught how to use their brain and their mind. And the mind is what controls the physical component of your athlete's performance. But many people don't understand this relationship, and that coaches and parents believe that if an athlete is struggling in their performance, then they need to keep practicing their physical skills. But I'm here to tell you that this is the wrong way of thinking if you want your athlete to perform better in games. Now let me ask you this. In a game situation, what happens when your athlete misses a big play? Or they make a mistake in front of the crowd? Or maybe they get yelled at by a coach. And they feel all this pressure to live up to certain expectations to go out there and to perform. What happens is they begin to doubt themselves. They're not playing, they begin to start to play to lose instead of trying to play to win. And slowly they stop enjoying the sport that they once loved. And here's the truth. It doesn't just affect their game. It affects their confidence, their motivation, as well as their overall well-being. Now this is where mental training or sports psychology comes in. See, mental training teaches kids how to manage pressure of the game, how to build up their confidence. It teaches them the difference between focusing on the process rather than focusing on the outcome. Now how to bounce back after mistakes, because eventually your athlete will make a mistake, and that's totally okay. And then we're going to teach them how to trust themselves when it matters the most. See, these are skills that are being developed. They are not traits of your athletes that they're born with. It's not like they have blue eyes and brown hair. So when I hear stories of athletes being born mentally tough or mentally resilient, that is such hogwash. See, athletes that you would consider to be mentally tough, like LeBron James or Michael Jordan or Novak Djokovic or Roger Federer, how about Sidney Crosby or Michael Phelps or Caitlin Clark? They learn, they practice, and they improve their mental skills. And that's why they dominate in their game. But they did not start to learn these skills when they became professionals. It started when they were kids. So let me hear you a little bit of a story that I'm working with. Okay, I'm working with a youth soccer player. He's a very talented player. He's skilled, he's fast, he's smart, he's a good dribbler, he shoots. Okay, but anytime that he would make a mistake, he would get so emotional, and then he began to shut down. And he began to question himself and his abilities, and he began calling himself stupid when he was on the field when he made a mistake. And as a result, he was afraid to compete because he did not want to mess up. Now, can you relate to something similar to this with your athlete? Now, his parents tried doing some pep talks, tried to boost him up, tried to boost up his confidence. They tried to doing some extra shooting practices with their coach. They even kind of backed off a little bit and just kind of let him do his thing, but nothing worked. He just kept on going down and down. And then we started doing some mental training work with him. And over the last few months, he's learned how to control his thoughts, how to control his emotions. He's learned how to use his breath as an important process of sport. He's learned some different skills of learning how to visualize himself and visualize success in key moments. And through this process, about 3 to 4 months later, now he's starting on his middle school soccer team as a 5th grader. And the biggest thing is that his confidence is so high now that he believes that he's the best player on the field. Now that is the power of mental training. Now parents, your role in the process is critical. You are your athlete's biggest influence. And it's just not being pushed on them to be harder. It's about helping them to build the tools to handle the pressure that already exists. Now here are a few things that you can start doing today. But first, if you'd like to know more and hear more about what's going on the mental game, now please subscribe to this channel and to help stay updated on new videos that I will post on a daily basis that relate to sports performance. So, again, what can you do to help minimize the stress in your athlete's game? Now folks, first, focus on effort, not the outcome. Athletes cannot control the outcome, but they can control their performance. Avoid overcoaching from the sidelines. Allow the coaches to do the coaching. Okay? Too many voices in your athlete's mind will make them confused on who to listen to. Okay? Help your athlete develop a pre-game routine. Developing a routine will help set their mind to get ready to compete and also helps build confidence in their game. Okay? Normalize mistakes as part of growth. Allow your athlete to make mistakes. It's okay. And then have your athlete reflect on why the mistake occurred. So then what's going to happen is they're going to take ownership so that they don't let that mistake happen again. Okay? And most importantly, be patient. Be patient in this process. Development is not an overnight thing. It takes some time. But the biggest thing is take notice of the little advancements that are in your athlete's game. Okay? Now, when you invest in your child's mental game, you are not just helping them win more games. You're going to be helping them on how to communicate better. We're going to help them to set goals and learn how to handle stress. You're going to help build up and grow their confidence. And these are life skills that they will carry with them far beyond the field or the court. Now, if you'd like to learn more about how you can better support your athlete's journey in youth sports, then please check out my new book, Raising a Resilient Athlete. And in this book, I'll explain some tips and strategies that you can use as a parent to help foster better communication between you and your athlete, become a mindful parent at sporting events, and learn tips and strategies on how to build up your athlete's confidence in sports. Now I'll leave a link below for you to kind of view my book. Now, research shows that by the time a child reaches the age of 12, 13, 14 years old, that they're looking to quit sports. And it's not just because they're not talented enough to play, but rather it's because sports is no longer fun and the pressure to perform is too much. So let's just think about this for a second. If your child begins sport at 6 years old, that means you have about 6 or 7 years to make their sports journey a positive experience and to help them to continue into high school and maybe beyond. Now, for athletes that are younger than 10 years old, the focus should be on skill development and having fun. It's not about wins or trophies or medals that they achieve. Those are external motivators. Now, what happens if your child becomes dependent on those trophies or medals as a reason to play sport? What's going to happen when those motivators are no longer achieved? Now, as your athlete grows into the preteen ages of 10, 11, 12, 13, okay, This is where it becomes so critical to keep sport in perspective, because every kid, male or female, boy or girl, in this stage will develop physically differently. So think about, how can a kid who is 12 years old, who is 5'2", play against another 12-year-old kid who's almost 6 foot tall? One kid is going to have an advantage, while the other kid will begin to question and doubt their abilities to go out there and play. Now, I see this happening all the time in preteen athletes, and it can be really detrimental to their level of confidence in their sport. So when an athlete enters high school, this is where competition is placed on the individual. This is where they feel pressure to go out there and compete and perform at a certain level. And then they'll begin to start to compare themselves to other players. Now, the challenges that are listed above are not related to the physical part of sport, but rather to the athlete's mental game and their mindset of sport, which is affected by their relationship between their thoughts and their emotions. So, what can you do, parents? Now, don't wait for your athlete to experience a burnout or they have a breakdown before you act, okay? Mental performance coaching is more accessible than ever. Whether it's through a coach or through online courses or even learning the basic mental strategies at home, it's worth the investment. Okay, because when young athletes learn how to manage their mindset, everything else will fall in place. They'll enjoy the game more, they perform more consistently, and they'll become more resilient on and off the field. And at the end of the day, your child doesn't have to be a professional athlete to benefit from mental sports performance coaching. They just need to be a kid who loves their sport and they want to advance in their game. So give them that gift. Give them that mental tools that will help build them up for life on and off the playing field. Now, if you would like more information on the mental game, first download my mental resiliency ebook that is listed below and have your athlete assess themselves on questions that are related to the mental game. Then check out my online course, The Resilient Athlete, where I will teach your athlete skills and tips and strategies that they can implement into their game to help them develop their mental resilience. The link for my course is listed below as well too. Now finally, if you'd like to speak with me about your athlete's game, please email me and we can set up a free Zoom call and we can speak about your athlete's game, their goals, and their struggles. Now, before you go, let me ask you this simple question. Knowing what you know now, would you agree with the statement that I mentioned before, that developing an athletic mindset in young athletes is the #1 training tool in order for them to reach their full potential and enjoy sports? So please take a moment and post your comments below. So thank you for watching this video to the end. I hope you found some valuable information in this video. And again, please subscribe to view more videos from me, and I look forward to seeing you in another video. Thank you.